Hey guys, I want to talk about the Davis Cup drama between Chile and Belgium in the match that featured Bergs versus Garin. So it's 5-all in the third set. 15:40, Garin serving, and Bergs hits an incredible forehand cross-court passing shot, and he's very happy about it. He's pumped up. He jumps into the air, points his finger to the crowd, turns towards the crowd, and he's very happy. No problem with that. He then runs to his bench, which was on the opposing side of the court. Garin's bench was on Bergs' side. And as you know, in tennis, we have to cross paths. And if there happens to be an umpire chair, there's not a lot of space between that chair and the net post. For whatever reason, Bergs rushes towards Garin, who is about to cross the net, and he jumps up into the air and crashes into him. And people were perplexed on social media why Bergs would do something like that. And something sprung into my mind that happened way back in the day in a women's US Open semifinal match in 1997 between Venus Williams and Irina Spirlea, where Spirlea, somewhat similar to this recent incident in Davis Cup, ran right into Venus Williams, and then on the changeover she was laughing towards her box. So that was an intentional bump that Spirlea did. Now they finished this match and Venus Williams won it. So the big question is, was this an intentional act from Bergs? And I got to be honest with you, when you look at the still shots, it's hard to fathom how he didn't see Garin. He absolutely saw that he was right there. And if you pay close attention, when he jumped up into the air and he was about to bump him, his right hand was around Garin. You can even see him holding on to Garin's shirt as he lands. So he absolutely knew that he was jumping at Garin. Now, shockingly so, this was deemed unintentional by the umpire. And it was Garin who refused to continue to play who was disqualified from the match. This is one of the most ridiculous things that I've ever seen. The only possible excuse for Bergs would be a state of trance where he was so happy about breaking at 5 on the third, he didn't know what he was doing. Because you see that once he bumped into Garin, he was apologizing to him. And this brings up a conundrum. If someone inflicts physical harm onto an umpire, a line judge, or another player, that has to be an automatic disqualification. In my opinion, when you shoot the ball into the stands, you risk the health of the spectators in the stands. That should be an automatic disqualification as well, but that's a story for another day. So intention in these instances really doesn't matter. For example, when Denis Shapovalov hit the ball into the umpire's eye socket, that was unintentional. But of course, it was such a reckless move that he was rightfully so immediately disqualified. Similar situation with Djokovic during the US Open, accidentally hitting the lines judge. So even if this move from Bergs was unintentional, he still should have gotten disqualified because there was absolutely no need to jump into the direction of Garin. The only instance I can think of where somebody could get hurt on the court unintentionally by a player, where the player shouldn't be disqualified, would be, for example, if a player inside of a rally tries to run down a ball and runs into an umpire. It's not the player's fault. And that is an unintentional harm caused to the lines judge, for example. But in this instance, this was so unnecessary from Bergs. This was so avoidable. This was so insane on so many levels. It deserved an automatic disqualification. Now, some people, not many, are giving Garin heat for not continuing to play because he was down a break, and many people think that he would have lost the match anyway, and he was trying to get the DQ. Garin also posted a picture of his face on Instagram showing some redness from the hit, and it was a pretty intense hit. So I'm 100% with Garin not continuing to play that match. This was absolutely ridiculous from the ITF umpires. This sets a bad example for other players that are watching that could possibly think they can get away with insane celebrations on the tennis court, which is not okay. Tennis is a gentleman's sport. But it's also going to create problems when we have a similar incident where we do get an automatic disqualification, and now we're going to have inconsistencies in the judgments of the umpires. So Huge mistake, very unfortunate, and I simply cannot understand what Bergs was thinking. He broke serve. He was going to serve for the match. What the heck was he doing? Jumping like that in Garin's direction. It makes no sense at all.